Incoming transmission.
Welcome back to Senior Nerd Presents Blerd Trek, your weekly breakdown of everything happening in the Star Trek universe. The news, the fandom, the business moves, and what it means for us as fans. I'm your host, Will, and this week we've got a lost Star Trek fan film finally getting a shine, some major Netflix news and exits that you need to plan for, Lego news that collectors have been watching very closely, and big updates straight from the cast of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. So let's get into last week in Star Trek for the week ending December 13th, 2025. First up, this might be the most meaningful Trek story we've had all year, and it's about a new documentary film called Beam Me Up Sulu. It's the telling of the story of a 1985 long-lost Star Trek fan film that featured George Takei, who played Sulu on the original series. And this was made long before fan films were that very common. So it was a student-made project that disappeared for decades and quite frankly became part of Star Trek folklore. Now it's here, and now thanks to this documentary, it's finally getting this moment. Here's when fans can see it. So according to TrekMovie.com, the film will premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival in early 2026. And then you can also currently see the trailer for the film that I'm showing here in B-roll on YouTube, and I'll drop a link in the show notes so you can hear the audio. And then also it will then be followed by a digital release on February 17, 2026. So this documentary is not just about the fan film, but it also explores how Star Trek has always had meaning to fans, and in particular in the 1980s. This film also will cover how George Takei became involved and how Star Trek has always inspired people who didn't always see themselves represented in sci-fi. In addition to all that, it also features some interviews from actors and creatives in modern Star Trek, including Christina Chong from Strange New Worlds, and also has some legacy Star Trek as well with Alexander Siddig from DS9, who played Dr. Bashir, and it definitely will tie multiple generations of fandoms and multiple generations of shows. So this is truly a moment in Trek history and also Star Trek's heart, because as we all know, we as the fans are why this show continues to this day, because it was up to the fans who wrote the big letter writing campaign to NBC way back in the late 60s to get them to uncancel the original series for that third season. But speaking of Trek history, let's talk about where you may not be able to watch a lot of it very soon. That's right, classic Star Trek is leaving Netflix. And Netflix officially confirmed that all of the classic Star Trek television series are leaving the platform globally. That's again, globally, not just here in the United States, but across the globe in January. This includes the original series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, and the animated series. So while this is a big blow to many here in the US, it's a definite blow for international fans, because this is a major shift, because Netflix has always been the main home for Trek properties for years as far as viewing them overseas. So once these shows leave, Paramount Plus will become the primary destination, meaning that if Netflix is a place where you casually rewatch or discover Star Trek for the first time, that era is ending. And this is due to the licensing agreements between Netflix and Paramount ending. So if you've been saying, oh, I'll rewatch DS9 someday, or I'm going to check out Enterprise for the first time because I've heard great things about it, show Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating, who were members of that show on the show Enterprise, this is the time for you to catch shows now before it leaves the platform. And Netflix is not stopping there, because Star Trek Prodigy is also leaving Netflix, as well as the Kelvin movies. So the Kelvin movies, of course, were Star Trek 2009, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. And so Prodigy was an animated show that initially was on Paramount Plus in partnership with Nickelodeon. It was an animated show that was hoping to get younger viewers engaged into the franchise, and then of course was canceled by Paramount Plus after its first season and Netflix jumped in to help the show come back for a second season that was already in production when it was canceled by Paramount Plus and aired on the platform. So yeah, Prodigy definitely has one of the weirdest stories and journeys in modern Trek history. So given that the license has now expired, those shows are also going and movies are going to get pulled off the platform, and we don't know where Prodigy is going to go at this point. So if you haven't watched it, definitely do so now. Hopefully Prodigy will get picked up by Paramount Plus again or some other streaming platform. But the bottom line is January is your deadline to watch both the show and also the movies on Netflix. And this is yet again another reminder why physical media is so important. So if you're thinking about downsizing your DVDs or your Blu-rays to have Star Trek or other content, I would say don't do so, because otherwise you're completely at the mercy of the streaming services. And because of all the churn and turmoil that we're seeing right now with deals happening with Warner Brothers and Netflix and Paramount and others, they can keep streams up or down, and you are completely at their whim. And so be sure to keep your physical media, because you don't want to lose access to the shows you love. So let's transition now from those streaming losses to some physical wins. And that is good news for collectors, because the LEGO Icons USS Enterprise D set that quickly sold out at the end of November and early December is once again available for back order directly through LEGO. And here's what that actually means. According to LEGO, and also saw this on trekmovie.com, LEGO is currently accepting orders, even though the set is not physically in stock right now. But according to the updates, the orders placed now are expected to ship by the end of the year, December 2025. This is not a pre-order, it's a confirmed back order with an active fulfillment window, and LEGO will not charge your card until the set ships, so don't worry about if you spend money on it, it doesn't come. LEGO will wait till it actually gets sent to you before they actually charge your credit card or debit card for the order. The set, of course, has retail here in the United States at $399 and also I think €399 as well. So definitely, from all indications from everything I've seen out there, it's an amazing set. I did a video about it before. It definitely has over 3,600 pieces. It has a premium level display level build. It has the Enterprise D in its full glory. It also comes with some the LEGO characters of the TNG crew. So it's a great investment if you're into Legos, and so definitely go check that out. But if you missed it this first time, like I said, the back order window may be your best chance before availability tightens again and you can order the Lego set. So moving from the plastic starships to holograms, we got great news where Robert Picardo is of course returning as the Doctor in Starfleet Academy, and he confirmed himself, not rumors on Reddit or anything else, but he confirmed that he will be returning as the version of the Doctor that we saw in Star Trek Voyager. That's right, he is playing the original emergency medical hologram, the EM8 that we saw in Star Trek Voyager. He confirmed these details in an interview. We're not getting a variant of the Doctor. This is the Doctor that we saw for 7 seasons on Star Trek Voyager, which I'm sure fans are very excited to hear that news if you were a fan of that show. And it makes sense for the Doctor's existence as a hologram. And Picardo even shares this himself in saying that, that in the far future Academy, it is believable that the EM8 would still be around. And it allows him to serve as a bridge between the legacy Trek and also a new generation of cadets in universe. But also we as fans have that as well, because legacy fans will be happy, but also new fans who may be joining the franchise will be able to learn about this character. And so this is how you bring a legacy character back in the right way. And it's not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. Of course, you've heard me many times if you watch my videos here on the channel about my frustration, and it's a pet peeve of mine when you have nostalgia just for nostalgia's sake. It's always important for nostalgia to serve the story, and we see that here with the Doctor being brought back in this way. So that is great news for that. And then also, of course, since we are dealing with a show with teaching and everything. You got the teaching on the one side, but you got to have that dramatic tension, and the show needs a threat. And Paul Giamatti shares his update about his character, Nusbraka, that we saw in a 4-minute cutscene from the season premiere, and that was dropped at Brazil Comic Con this past week. He is opening up about his villain role on Starfleet Academy in interviews that were highlighted again by Trek Movie and also The Hollywood Reporter and some other publications. And he is fully leaning into classic Star Trek energy. He describes his character, Nusbraka, as full, theatrical, and intentionally over-the-top villain, but with a person that has a real backstory and clear motivation. And if you saw the cutscene from the series premiere that was premiered last week at the Brazil Comic Con, definitely got all of those vibes from that video. And definitely seems that there is a history there between his character and Holly Hunter's character, Captain Aki of the USS Athena. And so we definitely see that. And the other thing too is he noted that this is not just a one-note villain mustache twirly villain. He's designed to challenge Starfleet ideas, not just physically, but also philosophically, which again is great. So this is just the kind of antagonist that Star Trek needs. And of course, when you cast an actor like Paul Giamatti, it sends a strong signal about how seriously the show is taking its storytelling. So I'm hoping that will definitely give us, definite strong writing, strong acting, because we as fans deserve that. And it's going to really drive the success of this. So with all those things, this wraps up last week in Star Trek for the week ending December 13, 2025. Just to recap, we have a George Takei documentary that will be debuting in early 2026. Major Netflix exits you need to plan for right now. So if you're holding off on catching up on shows, go to it. Lego collectors definitely have another shot at getting the Enterprise D. And we did get some updates for our Starfleet Academy that definitely shows it's going to be something special. So now, let me know in the comments what you think about all these things. Will you be watching a documentary, Beam Me Up Sulu, in 2026? Are you going to squeeze in a Netflix first-time watch of a Star Trek series you may have not watched before? Or are you going to binge and rewatch one of your favorites before it leaves the platform? And how do you feel about what Paul Giamatti and Robert Picardo said about their characters? Let me know in the comments below again. And if you liked this breakdown of news in the Star Trek universe, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Scene and Nerd Presents Blerd Trek each week. Also be sure to catch our main show. We're going to be talking about our best of 2025 and what we're looking forward in 2022 and 2026. And also, we're doing a fundraising holiday food drive for food banks in our communities where we live in Fairbanks, Alaska, and Durham, North Carolina. Look in the show notes below where you can see where you can donate to support that holiday food drive, or scan the QR code on your screen. And with that, thank you for listening. Until next time, live long and prosper.